To another round with Tom Harness and Kevin Hunsperger. Tom, what's going on, man?
Not much. Kind of a little bit of a somber day. This is obviously 9/11, and all of us have quite a few memories of this event. Man, how many years ago is that now?
17.
God, 17 years ago. And
wow.
I still remember I was teaching on that day. My first year of teaching, 5th grade. Where are you?
I was working at a TV station in West Lafayette, Indiana at the time. So
yeah. So, it's just a somber day. However, we've got see the smile on his face. He's got lined up an amazing guest today for us, and we cannot wait. So, you know what? I'm going to shut up and let you do your intro.
Well, and that is, thank you for that. Lisa Marie Varon. She is the artist formerly known as Victoria and as Tara in Impact Wrestling, but is a former WWE Women's Champion. And Lisa, I don't often have the opportunity to do this, but with our guest, that is
with Matt Hardy.
This is you and Matt Hardy at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago, and then this is 2 years later in Orlando. And you,
wow!
I don't remember if you were women's champion at 24 or not, but a couple WrestleManias had the opportunity to meet you. Tom and I have actually interviewed you before for another show, so we are honored to once again have you as a guest here on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Very excited. It's so funny. Those WWE guest appearances, aren't they just like rushed? You're like, okay, sit down, take a picture, go.
Yeah.
Okay, next. You're like, you don't even get to really reminisce with like the fans and ask them questions and stuff like that. So it's always rushed.
So what you're saying is you don't remember Kevin?
No, what?
He's not memorable, is what you're saying.
No, it's just like I do remember that guest appearance with Matt.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we sit down. I was like, why don't we stand up to take a picture? It was just really odd. It was really odd. Yeah. But
now, we were just talking about 9/11 and where we were. Were you a part of that big event with WWE that next day where they recorded in Houston?
No, I was in wrestling school.
Okay.
It was all of us, Dave Bautista, John Cena, Orton, like it was all, and Brock Lesnar. We were all, putting our boots on because we were at OVW. And I remember Danny Davis coming out and saying, hey guys, class is canceled. You guys go home. I don't know what's happening. You need to be with your loved ones because, the way it was like, oh my, it's the end of the world. It was so terrifying. And we were like, what is happening? I think in wrestling world, we live in such in a bubble. We just eat, breathe, and sleep wrestling. We don't know what's going on in the outside world. So we all just rushed home and just stayed home. And it was just craziness. It was crazy. It was scary.
So timeline-wise, then, that was obviously 2001. When did you get through your training with OVW, which is Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Wrestling, yes. 2002 is when I made my debut as a full-fledged wrestler, not as a Godfather girl. But
that's right.
And you like how I put it, Godfather girl? No, I wasn't on TV yet. I was still getting molded. They didn't know what was in store for me. I didn't have the crazy character yet. So I was still just trained. We just trained, 8 in the morning until like 2 in the afternoon. And then we'd have a show at night. And then that was, I wasn't known yet. I was known as Queen Victoria in OVW. That's all. A bad guy.
How much are you, because you were Queen Victoria, then you obviously became Victoria, and then that character even evolved and spun into other things. So how much input at that level, in the OVW level, were you given as far as character development goes?
You really don't, they always say that you can pitch ideas and stuff like that, but you always wonder if it's going to stick or not. The Queen Victoria was actually Charmel wanted to be the Queen Charmel. And she was at the school too, and they were like, "Oh, let's make Victoria, Queen Victoria of the Damaja." And I was working with two guys, Doug Basham and Damaja. They were up in WWE for a short stint, but I was just put together with them, and then they gave me the crown. And it's kind of sad because my crazy character also Molly Holly wanted to do. And
really?
Yeah, and it's not like we go into steal, but they're like, okay, we don't see you in that character. We see this person in, you know what I mean? So it is kind of a bummer when you come up with an idea and then someone else gets to use it. You know what I mean? But I'm very thankful that I did have those characters. The crazy character that I portrayed was perfect. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You can't do anything wrong. You can push the limit. They can, the thing is, like, when you do those, you don't want them to say you need to amp it up. I always amped it so much where they're like, okay, you can kind of tone it down, but I was never told to tone it down or anything. What I was doing, Stevie Richards and I just had an agreement. Whatever you're feeling out there, do it. Say sorry later. Just, you know, you feel like hitting me, just hit me, that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, same here. Whatever the fans are behind, just keep going with it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we really don't have much of a say. You know what I mean? We can pitch, a lot of storylines, but it's very difficult. It is.
How much of the characters that you do you put yourself into? Like, are there little pieces of you in each one? Are you just, is it like you flip a switch and you're a totally different person and you're taking on this completely different persona?
Well, everyone says like I'm close to my character, what was close to my character, which I don't see. The way I wrestled was very intense and very Memphis style. And Memphis style is very exaggerated, very, you want the last row, like, not everybody's going to be in the front row and see you. So you want the last row to be able to see what you're doing. So I did have to tone that down because I was so intense and very, you could see the next move I'm going to do, so I did have to tone that down. My craziness, as soon, I remember, okay, girls, good luck. Don't get hurt. All right, let's go out there. And as soon as I heard the entrance of my song, I go, and I got into freaking crazy mode. As soon as my music hit and through that curtain, Lisa didn't exist. I became that character, and I just, it was so much fun.
What was your song?
So much fun being a bad guy.
What was your song?
Tattoo. Yes, I lost my mind. Oh, all the things she said. It started off, yes, I've lost my mind. All the things she said, all the things she said. Yeah, that was my song. And we only owned that for a year because of copyright. So everyone's like, why did you change your song? And I was like, it's not my choice. I don't get to, I didn't get to pick my name. The song, they asked me to listen to it and how I felt about it. And when I heard it the first time, it was little too pop. I was like, God, am I supposed to be a crazy character? It's too poppy. And they ended up, and I had Fit Finley come in. I go, hold on, let me go get Fit because he knows me. And so we went to go listen. He goes, can we just make it creepy at the beginning and start off, and that's when they added, yes, I've lost my mind at the beginning with the eerie sound at the beginning. And then I loved it. Honestly, it was perfect song.
It's kind of cool that people associated you with that song, and it goes into the whole branding concept of how much when you condition people to see a certain thing, and then when you change the song, people notice that little thing.
I know, isn't it crazy? It's crazy how like when they changed my name from Lisa to Victoria, I didn't get it, and I go, do I look like a Victoria? I don't know. But then you start molding into that character, and then then it'll stick. You know what I mean? And that song was perfect. I love it. And then when I still do indies. So when I wrestle, they ask me what song do I prefer? I always say Tattoo, so.
Now, as part of that, obviously this was 16 years ago when you made your debut as Victoria on the main stage, and just over Labor Day weekend, you were a part of WrestleCast or StarCast, and All In Weekend in Chicago. That was a really, I was not able to attend. We're a few hours from Chicago, but I had some friends that were there. They absolutely loved the concept, loved the idea. Talk about that from an insider's perspective, if you will, and just kind of, obviously, your name still holds some weight and some ground as you were a part of this big phenomenal event.
It was, can I tell you, it was crazy. And to see like an event like that, just as big as like a WrestleMania weekend. It was insanity, and you have to go next year. You have to. You can't miss it. I'm so proud because I got to work with the Young Bucks. I was their valet or manager back in TNA, and all these indie guys not having to be on the main stage. Do you know what I mean? To be part of a independent, you know what I mean? I don't want to say that this it sounds like an insult, but it's not. They
No.
had it's almost like it's a cult following. I think
Mhm.
everybody's so anti-corporate and being part of this mold where you're not really in control of what you do. It was, I mean, all of the people that I worked with in WWE that were there, we were like, this is crazy. This good for them. Good for them. The guys that worked the independents like New Japan and all like, other companies, their line was out the door. I mean, out the door. And it was everybody and everybody that was known was there, and all the big indie superstars, people that I'm fans of, that should be signed. That I think this is going to be. I'm sorry for the shaking. I'm trying to find a spot.
Oh no, you're fine.
But I think WWE is going to be raking. They're going to be picking a lot of people from that All In. The girls match, I watched it at Shane Helm's party, Hurricane. He
Oh,
had a
okay.
private viewing. I didn't go to attend the show, so I went to go. They had it at the hotel, and all of us girls, Gail Kim. There were a lot of us girls that were are workers, I guess, and the girls stole the show. Um, Incredible match. It was. Did you watch it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I had some issues with the feed, but
Okay.
I've heard nothing but glowing reviews about it, and we've had some friends that were there. So you bring up a good point about kind of being on that radar of WWE, and I would imagine that part of the enjoyment or the satisfaction of doing a weekend like All In is to not have those corporate strings. But then there's also that machine that pushes the talent and gets behind you. And if you are able to sign with WWE, I imagine that is probably still the ultimate goal for a lot of the talent that you probably talked to over that weekend, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And look how big WWE has become. I mean, with all the reality shows and stuff like that. Look at the platform that these people have now. It's just, it's not a closet love anymore. And when I tell people like, "Oh, you're a pro wrestler. Oh, are you on Total Divas?" I'm like, I am not. I go, that wasn't. We didn't have that when I was there. I go, but they're like, "Do you know the Bella Twins?" And I go, their first program with WWE was with me, and Natty. And you still feel part of it. You know what I mean? Because we all work together. But I think it's because the money. Also, don't forget, it's money driven too. It's
Sure.
an expensive sport to be a part of. You're traveling all the time, hotel, living. Trying. You're eating on the road. Every cent that I made went back into my wrestling.
And
My
talk
wrestling.
about that, because I think fans or people who don't really know think that Vince McMahon is just throwing money at everybody. But a lot of that stuff comes down to the talent. And as you mentioned, I've read the stories where 4, 5, 6 guys and gals pile into a car and then get a hotel room. And because you are literally trying to survive and save money while on the road too.
Absolutely. We would always drive in fours, 3 or 4s. Us girls would always share a room to save money, mostly Red Roofs because you get the 10th visit free. And
Nice little plug for them.
what is that?
Nice little plug for Red Roof Inn.
I know. And I don't, the perk though, we always used to love Hyatt's because it had free breakfast. That was the big
Breakfast
perk.
is always good.
Yeah, but I think it's also deceiving that people think that we eat at all these steakhouses after the show. The show, we don't get out of there till 11. What's
Yeah.
open?
Right.
You're hoping that there's a Waffle House. You're hoping IHOP. It's always usually fast food, McDonald's and stuff like that. It's really hard to eat clean and
Mhm.
maintain your your physique, and get proper rest. We wouldn't get to the hotel sometimes until 3 a.m. And then wake up. We have to go work out and try to find a gym that will comp us a workout. We would always say, "Hey, you a wrestling fan? Would you like to get tickets to the show if we can get a free workout?" And the wrestling gear, we pay for that. I don't know how it is now. It might have changed now. I don't know. It might be different. Back in my day, we paid for our own ring gear, our rental cars. They paid for our flights, our hotels. We took care of ourselves, and yeah, we had catering on TV days, but not on house shows.
Mhm.
But it was always, how can we save money? How can we save money? And calling each other in other car rides. What deal did you get on that hotel? What deal did you get on that hotel? But you know what? I it was enjoyable. It was a bonding experience. We would have a lot of fun on the road, a lot of fun. You know.
So we got one question from a live viewer. Liam wants to know, what was her working relationship with Lilian Garcia?
Oh, come on. I love Lilian. Oh my God. Sweet. She is so sweet. It was always fun to rib her, because she's just such a nice person, and super positive. There were a handful of girls that were like super positive that you're like, okay, enough, kind of thing. I'm still friends with her. Oh my goodness. Uh, what my working relationship, it was like in work, like we all, like all of us girls in my generation, in my era, we all got along, and if we didn't get along, we would have a powwow in the locker room and say, just get it out, just let it out, and just like, is there anything we need to talk about, that kind of stuff, because you're you're with these girls more than your own family, and you don't want any bumps in the locker room. You don't want any problems, because it's going to make work torturous. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
not that everybody had perfect relationships. Like, they were not best friends, but my it always pays to be nice. I'm going to tell you that. You know, I was always easy to work with, very easy. A lot of people that are saying, I want my retirement match, who they want it with was me. I'm very giving in the ring. Um, I'm nice. I never had an ego. I never thought I was better than anyone. And I don't know. It's just you're not. We all are making each other look good. Not one girl is better than the other. And yeah, Lillian's a great sensitive soul.
Can you talk a little bit too about and pardon the pun because it is the name of the pay-per-view, evolution of women's wrestling? Because, I've been watching for 35 plus years, and I can remember, there were times when you didn't have any women's matches for what seemed like years. And then, the generation that you were part of, the era that you were a part of, the women started getting showcased a little bit more. And then it kind of went back down to where women were a side attraction, or they were valets. They weren't getting in there and having programs and feuds and storylines. And now we're to the point where the women have a Royal Rumble matchup. They have the Money in the Bank matchup. They've been in the Hell in a Cell. And now their very own pay-per-view with women calling the matches, doing commentary, announcing the matches. It really has come a long way
It
over
has.
the last few years. And WWE specifically, now we should mention there are other companies that have shined the light on women in the past, but really with WWE being the juggernaut of it all, by them doing this now, I think maybe puts an even bigger spotlight on female athletics.
Yes. This pay-per-view should have happened a long time ago. We had amazing talent back then. We did have hardcore matches, street fights, and like those kind of things in my generation. It's I'm very proud. I mean, that the girls are getting their own pay-per-view. I mean, back in our day, we're lucky. We're like, we would get to the ring, and the referee goes, we came out there like, you have a 10-minute match. We get to the ring, they're like, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And we have to be able to call it and go, okay, this is, right on the spot. We have to change the whole entire match. And there was a point when we were wrestling, and we had a meeting, and we were starting to work too much like guys. And they were saying, hey, girls, don't forget, you still are girls. You still need to wrestle like girls. We were like, what's that mean? Because we were like, in our minds, we're like, we're going to have the best match, not the best female match. We're going to have the best match on the card. That was our goal, And for us to go, okay, then wardrobe malfunction started happening, and go back to pulling hair. A lot of my moves were pulling hair anyways, but just to cheat, just get the heel persona across. But when we were told, you need to back off and not do such hardcore, we were wrestling like men, and it was not okay in our generation. We were so insulted, but you go with the flow. What do you do? But it's nice to know now when you see this pay-per-view and all these girls kicking butt and working hard and having not that stereotypical bra and panties match, lingerie matches, which we had, and we hated those. Oh my gosh, we were like, okay, you want us to wear? We're already wearing halfway nothing in the ring, anyways. You want us to put bra and panties on? We're still going to wrestle the same way. You know what I mean? So it's nice that we have kind of overcome all that. You know what I mean? So,
And you're part of that. I mean, how does it feel to kind of be
Yeah.
this, setting the standard now for what is considered women's wrestling?
it's awesome. I hear that, like, when I'm doing these signings, I'm hearing from fans about, wow, you paved the way, and I'm like, of course, along, like, other girls have paved the way for me too,
Mhm.
but it's nice to get, like, the acknowledgement. You know what I mean? Not that I need a pat on the back. It's nice to hear, and you hear it from the fans when people are like saying, "You should be in the Hall of Fame. Why aren't you in the Evolution?" It's enough for me to hear from the fans how much they appreciate my work. You know, it, it is a good pat in the back, and you don't realize, like, how many people have watched you, because I told you, us wrestlers live in a bubble. We still have bills to pay. We still, go. I'm with the family all the time, so I really don't really go out. The most places I get recognized is like Walmart's. You know what I mean? But every time I go to Walmart with no makeup, I always get recognized, and they're like, "Are you Victoria?" And I'm like, "Oh, note to self: look a little decent when I go shopping." You know what I mean? But
Who
it's
knew
still
you
like
could have
the fans
all
come up
decked
and
out
tell
at
you.
Walmart?
Yes, I know. Look at all my product, and I'm not getting anything from these people, these these companies. But it was it is nice, and it's you always have to worry when you're forgotten. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
people are like, does it bother you when you get stopped? Hey, can I take a picture with you? Can I get an autograph from you? And I'm like, no, it's very flattering. You have to worry the day when they say they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, but I'm very proud.
We got another question from Sean Paul O'Neill. If you had an all-time favorite match of yours that you could choose, what would it be?
There's so many that I get that asked all the time. There are different styles of wrestling. Trish and I, of course, the hardcore match in the Survivor Series. That's not shockingly, that's not my favorite. People say there was a lot. I broke my nose. The mirror got crushed. We were supposed to use the mirror. There were a lot of things that when I watch it, I'm like, of course, it's an awesome match. When I watch, we killed each other on that match. But there was a lot of mistakes that happened here. I was just like, and I was such a rookie, and I was getting the belt that night. There's so much stress that was involved. But one of my favorites, Trish and I did the Chicago Street Fight. That was a fun one. And Gail Kim and I have a different style. She's a flyer. Molly Holly, with the shaving of her head, we made history there. And then my like Awesome Kong, Mickey James, we had a cage match. Lita and I had a cage match. There's so many good girls out there. Jazz and I, she taught me how to lead a match. She made me feel very comfortable in the ring. She was a really good ring leader. Um, she would see in your face if you're lost or what the heck do I do next? She'll come over. You all right, baby? You okay? Let's go. Come on, breathe. Yeah, and then she'll beat the hell out of me. You know what I mean? But there's a lot that I learned a lot. I learned a lot how to make my opponent feel at ease, because I was always in that situation where you're like, I don't know what do I do now? You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
but the fun matches I do have, ODB, like her and I, our goal is to make each other laugh in the ring. And even it's her and I tend to laugh a lot because her character is hilarious, and
Yeah.
she's a big girl, I'm a big girl, and every time we would try to slam each other, we're like, oh my god, we're so heavy, because we're not used to getting picked up. We're the
Yeah.
big girls. But I'm trying to think of other matches. I've had so many. Triple threat with Jazz, Trish, and I, and Stevie. That was a great triple threat. Triple threats are not my favorite matches to have. Those are most difficult, and so are fatal four ways. They're very difficult to put together, so it doesn't look like two single matches going on at the same time.
Yeah.
You want it to still involve everybody. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
very difficult, and communication, and the placement. And it's not like we choreograph everything. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
you have to still listen to the fans and see what they're biting. So you still, oh, they're not getting this. Let's turn it up. But I've had so many great matches. I know I'm missing some, and I don't want to insult anybody, but
Was there ever a match that you wanted but you never got to do?
well, the Money in the Bank, the ladder match, we never had a ladder match. So when I they had it here in San Diego. I went to go watch it live, and I was like, oh my god, this would have been perfect back, like, in our generation, and I was, that's a match I would have liked to have. kind of, sort of, just because the injury prone like that, a lot of things can go wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't want to have it, but it's epic. You know what I mean? You always want to have the first matches, what else matches? I don't know.
Well, we talked about Evolution, and I know, we're not going to ask you, are you going to be there? But hypothetically, if you could be a part of that, if you could pick anyone on the current roster, because we do see that Trish is coming back. Trish Stratus is going to be coming back in wrestling. Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, just about a year and a half, 2 years ago, made her come back to WWE. She was kind of part of that group that you were with originally. She was a guest here on another round as well. But is there someone, a talent on the roster right now, NXT or WWE rosters, that you would be interested in having a match with?
Charlotte and Osaka is the one that the dream matches that fans come up to me and tell me about. And if they did call me, invite me, of course. I mean, that's, it's where I came from. You know what I mean? But a lot of people have asked me, have I been called? I have not. I haven't been called to. And
somebody out there, pick up the phone and call. Seriously, Lisa Marie, come on, right, Kevin?
You and Charlotte would be amazing. Yeah, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The way the girls work now, though, back in my generation or my matches, I'm a little bit slow and more character. I'm more like zoom in on my face and get that evilness on my face. I don't work at the fast pace they do. I don't do spot. It's more like boom, rest, look at the crowd, get like more of a storytelling that way. Not to say that they're doing anything wrong. I'm just a little bit more old school.
Right. Sure.
But of course, Charlotte, I knew before her getting into wrestling, and I'm very tight with Ric Flair. So I remember him calling myself and Mickie James before she got into wrestling if I can fly out and go train with her. And that's a big compliment to get a call from Rick to go. Yeah. Absolutely. And at that time, I think I was booked on something. And I don't like to cancel if I'm advertised, you know what I mean? Sure. Unless like death in the family or something like, God forbid, but yeah, it's the roster's incredible. Oh my gosh.
My money's on you. All in. I'm all in with you.
Okay. Thank you.
We gotta make this happen. Kevin, pick up the phone, call your people.
Yeah. Call your people.
Call your people, Kevin.
If I had people, I would be there already. So, we did talk a lot about WWE. You obviously also had quite a career in Impact Wrestling, 5-time women's champion there, and also held the women's tag team championship. It seems like a lot of times people forget about how much the Knockouts division was really kind of innovative and cutting edge too, and running parallel in some regards to, it didn't feel like they were labeling or had the divas.
Yeah. About that, when I was done with WWE, when they said, I never said it was my retirement match. The retirement never came out of my mouth, because you see old legends, you just don't say retire. We're going to float somewhere. And once this business is in your blood, there's no way, there's no escape. It's like quicksand. It keeps on sucking you back in. And I didn't plan on going to TNA after WWE. And then, but I went, all those girls were watching Impact Wrestling. Their women's division kicked butt. I started watching when Gail Kim and Awesome Kong were feuding. And I was like, and then I saw all the girls there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this, the talent. And there were a lot of girls I've never faced. And when I had a 90-day no compete clause, and I got a call from Terry Taylor to come aboard to Impact, TNA at the time. And I was like, oh, let me think about it. And he goes, well, we want to debut you in 2 days. And I'm like,
wow.
What? I go, my 90 days, I mean, literally on my 90th day, the 91st day, I got the call.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, it was, and
that's awesome.
They wanted to sign me for 3 years. And I go, hey, let me just do 1 year and see what it's like. I don't want to commit myself, because what if maybe it's time for me to hang my boots up. And then ended up loving it and having awesome feuds there. And the girls were amazing. And not so lingerie-ish, like no bikini stuff. And we did photo shoots. That way people can see the sexiness of the women. You know what I mean? It's part of the business. And I know people are saying, I don't want to do photo shoots like that. you know, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to
Well,
tell you. You got to look at what the products out there, you know, and it was incredible. And when I got there on my first match, I said, what do you want me to do? You know, they're like, just go out there and do what you do. And I go, wait a minute, I need more guidance than that. What do you want? Do you want me like, is it like, do you want it to be, you know, disqualification? I mean, what do you want? You know, that I needed more guidance. I'm so used to having a little bit, we want this, not this kind of finish, but we want like it, I don't know. You just have a little bit more of an outline in WWE. You don't
sure.
choreograph. I'm not gonna say that, but you know how you're gonna start.
Hmm.
The ending. Do you want it to have a continuation? What's happening? And
Yeah.
they're like, just go out there, just be you. And I remember, you know, I was known as the Black Widow in WWE, and they were when I went to TNA, they said, oh, you're the Spider Girl, and they gave me three boxes or something, and they're like, are you Tara? And I go, yes, I'm Tara. And I go, they changed my name, and not my choice, by the way. And there were spiders in it. And I said, what's this? And they're like, well, you're the Spider Girl. After you do your finish, we want you to place the spider on their body. And I go, okay, do they have venom? And they're like, yes. And I go, well, what happens if I get
What?
you know, bit? And they're like, oh, are you allergic to bees? And I said, I don't know. I've never been allergic to bees. I don't know. I've never gotten bit. And so I Googled it real quick, and I was like, oh my gosh, but they had a guide from Gatorland that had the spiders. So of course I talked a big game, you know, you tell me what kind of match you want. I'm not going to cause any, you know, problems. I'll do the match you want. And so I was like, you know, I told them after 1 year, I said, I'm going to show you what a hard worker I am after 1 year. And then we'll see if you want to sign me after the first year. And so, of course, when they said this, I was like, okay. But then, you know, you'll see the first time I have it in my hand, my hand's going shaking. And because the body language of the spider too, you don't know what the heck is going on. And I ended up liking it. I felt like Jake the Snake with the snake,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I felt very badass, excuse my language, but the kids loved it. And I was like, I embraced it. And I was so bummed that they ended up killing off the spider. But the spider was making more money than some of the mid carders, because
Really?
the guy from Gatorland was getting paid to be there. He's there
Oh,
when I start until the end of the show, because you don't know if they're going to do a pre-tape at the end. So they have to pay somebody to stay there with the spiders. You know what I mean?
yeah. Makes
I don't
sense.
That's what
No.
caused the demise of my spider.
No more spiders.
Yeah, he was too expensive.
Good.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Isn't it? It is. It is.
Yeah, I would have I think that would have been the point where I would say, you know what? I don't think I'm really into this wrestling thing as much as I thought.
And that's an example how passionate the people on TNA and Impact Wrestling, they don't pay as well. I mean, the pay is completely different. You take a big pay cut going to TNA, but those are the people that are passionate and want to get in the ring. They do what they love, not for the paycheck all the time. You know what I mean? They still wrestle and just have the heart, you know?
It's about following that dream and living out that passion. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, it's not the pay. You're cramming into cars, you're eating at Waffle House at 3 a.m., you're 3 or 4 in a bed. So yeah, it's a passion project.
Oh, it sounds very glorious. It sounds like a glorious life you led.
Yeah, very glamorous. I think also too, like I remember the Diva Surge era. The girls were brought to TVs in limos, and we're like, what the heck is going on? And as soon as one of them won, all that stuff got taken away, and it was a big slap in the face. They're like, wait, there's not a limo that picks me up. There's not, you know, I don't stay in the TV hotel. There's a TV hotel, usually Marriott's and stuff like that. You know, we don't get to stay there, and it's a big wake up call. I remember when I got put on full time, they're like, hey, welcome, you're full time, and but you have to pay for your own rental cars and hotel. And I'm like, is that a step up or is that a step down? You know, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah.
It really is. Lisa, are there any other projects or anything else you'd like to plug as we get ready to wind things down today?
Well, I'm going to be wrestling James Ellsworth coming up. If you follow me on Instagram, I post all my appearances coming up.
Okay. Love your Instagram.
Real Lisa Marie. That's my Twitter, my Instagram, and also my Facebook. You're going to have to look me up. There's a couple phony ones of me, but it has Lisa Marie Varon / and then my main name, Lisa Marie Soul. And I also have a fan page. So there's 2 of those.
Okay.
But yeah. But I'm doing a lot of Comic Cons, which I love. I really truly love you guys. I'm a Star Wars geek, Ninja Turtles, Transformers, um, Attack on Titan. So those are not really work for me. I get to go and kind of geek out, taking pictures with people in costumes and do an autograph signing and talk wrestling. That's not really a bad gig.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit easier on my body too.
Well,
But-
just when I couldn't think you were any better. You're an amazing, this talented, beautiful, and she's a geek.
Yes.
Man, that's like the trifecta right there.
There you go. There you go.
And she'll kick your
Oh,
ass.
God.
Yeah, and she'll kick your ass if she needs to. So, she's got that going.
I'm the full package, I guess, you guys. And why am I single? I'm single. What is wrong with this picture?
Hey, right now, I guarantee you're going to meet the love of your life at one of those Comic Cons.
We'll see. He'll probably be dressed up in the Ninja Turtle. That's knowing more. Yeah, probably.
So right now, we have everybody trying to buy Ninja Turtle suits to go to the next Comic Con to meet you and try to propose to you.
That's so funny. Yes. Please do. I'll probably come out there and take a picture with you because I'm such a fan. I turn into a fangirl big time. Oh my gosh. I do have to say that we do fan out a lot. A lot of people are like, we are a fan of things. I got to meet Jason Momoa this weekend.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Can I just tell you? And then I had to go back to my table and sign autographs. And I was trying to post it on my Instagram. And I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was like, look who I met. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Look who I just met. And they were like, it's so refreshing that you fan out for people. I go, we fan out a lot, all the time. We're not, oh my gosh, he's so dreamy.
Hey, there's only one other person that can replace Kevin, and that's Jason Momoa for me. Sorry, man.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Aww.
Yeah. Jason Momoa comes along, you're out of the picture.
Okay.
Out. Oh,
Well, Lisa, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. And again, follow her at Real Lisa Marie on all platforms of social media. And again, it's been an absolute pleasure once again to meet you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. It's great, and we will plug those accounts online. We'll
Thanks.
and
I
plug
appreciate
their
that.
social accounts.
Yep. Have a great day.
Appreciate this.
See you.
All right. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Do I hang?